Now, okay, so this is working. It's gonna be. I just keep it at incognito. Let me see if I actually leaked my email or not. Leaked, leaked. Okay, so from this screen it doesn't. Okay, doesn't look like I have. Every time I open my YouTube, it's all this Trump, Trump, Trump. That guy is doing nothing and just talking. I used to be a Trump supporter. I don't know. I don't think my support matters at all. But yeah, I used to find him very smart and like I don't know, like in I used to respect him a lot as a leader. But he's just talking, man. He's just talking and he's doing nothing. Wow, wow. Finding oil in Pakistan. Mm. So what am I actually supposed to do here? There are certain things I can actually do. I'll save it for later. Hmm. So I think I should keep it to this only. Where is it? Display capture. Wait, I need to actually check like if my clips actually show up. Scribble, not my clips. If I just okay, so my channel does show up. Just 39 is too low. The live does show up. Which stream was it? I actually forgot. Could it be this one? There's one stream I was watching Mr. Bean. Then I violated Mr. Bean. That's the clip I want to use. This is just a fucking Operation Sindhu something something. I don't know. It could be this one. 5 months ago. Damn, that's a long time. I think it is this one. Where's Mr. Bean? This is a Durex ad. There's some confession shit on Reddit and whatnot. Okay, this is not the stream. Uh, yes, I think it's this one. Yeah. Oh, this was the mural. The one piece. Is it called a mural? I don't know. Wait, what is? Yeah, it's a mural. It's not this one as well. I actually forgot. Fuck this, man. Why does it show one watching? Get something better to do. You don't need to watch this. In my hand, goodbye, goodbye. Asking rich YouTube is most expensive item they own. It's probably gonna be a prostitute. Uh, what was I actually gonna do? I forgot. See, this is why you need a diary, okay? So you'll keep on forgetting what you were supposed to do. I actually forgot. Oh, he actually left. I told him to fuck off and he actually did. Respect, man. The content भी भाई क्या है आजकल? Lullen top. I can't actually read this. Wait, let me try. Milky Beauty. Why is he calling her a Milky Beauty? What? Is that a boob joke? Excuse me? Excuse me? Wait. The whole display is capturing. Okay. Can someone explain to me why is the title Milky Beauty? Wait, let me make sure you guys understand this. अरे बहनचोद वाइट ठीक है. Wait, I've gotten old to a point where I have actually forgotten how to use paint. When I hmm. So Milky Beauty, in my opinion, is supposed to be a joke about boobs. I mean, that's what you call Milky 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 Mommy Milkers. But आइटम नंबर से लेकर शाहरुख तक पर तमन्ना से बात. Something is wrong. Indian media में something and 1.6 million people are watching this shit. Something is very wrong here. भाई मिल्की ब्यूटी का I know he means कि भाई she's white, but he could have used any other word. He could have used cement beauty. Cement white नहीं होती. He could have used, let me think. If I was the thumbnail guy, I to show that she is fair, I could just call her, paintbrush beauty. नहीं. You know what? Milky Beauty is fine. It's fine. Don't mind me. Oh, yes. I now understand what I was here for. So, अरे भाई. So this is a video that he, no free ads please. Fuck off. Is the ad finished? Hmm. So he did post a video about, something about the coal mafia. Not something, I watched the whole video. I know entirely what he's talking about. It's basically, how the government sector who's in charge of coal mining and energy production, that got replaced by privatized Adani. So that was the bidding that was made. Basically, it was a very roundabout way of doing it. During, wait, what was the timeline? I think I should read it. Yeah, and that's a Kriya report. Report is collective. Yes. So during the pandemic in October 2021, so where is it? The Association of Power, arre, fuck off. The Association of Power Producers wrote to Ministry in November 2021 to open up for auction two coal blocks nested in. So I'm right. So in October 2021, what basically happened was they made media, you know, run with one agenda. Which agenda was that you guys are gonna run out of coal to produce energy in 4 days. That was the entire everything in media was being talked about that, and then Reporters Collective, and there's one Kriya report, and the government coal agency as well. What's this called? Coal India Limited. I think it was called something else before. What was it called? So he basically talks about how Coal India Limited or the government agency, Ministry of Coal, and all these guys, they got replaced by Adani's bidding. Adani basically bid to produce coal and energy for our country. So this is in 2022, May 28, timing in one of its worst power crisis in 6 years, while it's hottest summer. Okay, summer is basically the time. So it's just some months ago, October 2021, they faced a power crisis, and they said it will be only be sufficient for 4 days of operation. But that was not true. If they could actually pull up a graph here, so January 2020 and around here, around this time, the graphs above shows that since May 2020, stock at power station has been reducing consistently. Now the stock has been reducing. It's not about anything about production. Production is happening at a very efficient level, and I think at around that time or a year later than that, they were at the record highest of coal production. So this stalking was basically an infrastructure failure that happens a lot in our country, and it's very easily fixable if the government actually wants to fix it, but they actually do not. So the primary reason for power crisis last year was the inaction of power plant operators to stock adequate coal. Okay, so this is an infra problem. Okay. So this was basically the problem they were trying to create, and they were gonna give the solution itself as well. It's very easy. Indian government, no, it doesn't matter which one is in power. They all have a simple playbook, which I'll show you. I'll show you guys. The playbook is as simple as, you know, this is the population. Okay. The population does not get to vote on any of the bills that they pass. How actually any bill or any notice, where notice can any government in power can issue a notice. But for any bill, there is like certain number of people that we have in our Lok Sabha and whatnot, and they vote for a bill, and if the vote increases a certain threshold, it will pass, and if it doesn't, it will not pass. So for them to convince every person in this seat, it's very difficult. Everyone has their own agenda. Everyone has their own, you know, KRAs to fulfill. And because everyone wants to come back in power, the opposition will never vote for a good bill. Just they'll try to seize every opportunity they get to make the government in power look bad. It goes both ways, just so they can get back in power and win more few votes. So that's an off tangent, but how their tactics work, the media tactics is very simple. Suppose they want to pass a bill. This is a bill, right? They want to pass a bill or a notice. We'll just call it a notice. If they actually know that this notice has a lot of agenda behind it, basically the agenda that the wealthy people wanna lobby the government into this agenda. Maybe they wanna buy some contract and whatever they want, whatever monetary gain they're getting or any power gain they're getting. So this would be the wealthy ones. The wealthy ones will have an agenda. They will push it to the notice, and obviously the public will deny this. So what do? There's a media house. You create a requirement of its own, and through fear, by the way. This always happens through fear. So you create a requirement through fear. For example, in this case, it is 4 days. 4 days is gonna be the maximum amount in which the power is gonna, you know, the coal power generators are gonna run for. After that, we'll run out of it, and there will be a blackout or whatever they wanna say. So the media targets mainly the 80% of our country's population who still watches the mainstream media. They still watch it. For example, your parents, like obviously our generation does not watch a lot of mainstream media because we've actually grown out of it because of social media, but that's not any better of a source for your information. So they are targeting this 80% of the population after a pandemic, during a pandemic in fact. During COVID-19, they're targeting a rational requirement through fear. And what will that create? That will create panic. Now, panic is their best friend. Whenever they want to pass a notice or a bill, they'll make sure you guys panic. You guys keep on panicking and don't look at the big picture here. The big picture here. Because if you do, then there'll be riots. A lot of people in our country are very unemployed and they'll actually get down on the street and start rioting. But this has been the playbook for every government that has been since our independence, and especially more so when in the age of social media and in the age of mainstream media and the internet, basically, where you can access information for free almost every single time, but the information is correct or not, they don't know. And why I say if it's correct or not, even if there are a lot of factors backing it, I'll show you why. How many news uh, agencies in India have their public have their donors, sorry, listed publicly? Now this is a very since we're living in a democracy, I think everyone should know this. I mean, I know the number, but let's see. So it's for an overview, and I actually trust Gemini for collecting sources. It's Google has the biggest search engine database of out of everyone. So it's very difficult to pinpoint an exact number, but many news agencies do not publicly list their donors. Their donors can be anyone. Their donors can be the current people in power. Their donor can be the wealthy company owner for Adani's and the Ambanis and everyone in between. It could be anyone. So even the non-profit okay, so the non-profit cooperatives, many other do have complex ownership structures involving private individual families and companies. I don't understand where this family concept is doing in a media house. That too in the biggest democracy in the world, by the way. So transparency is it itself is overviewing that transparency is not always readily available, and which has been a law uh, for the longest time, that you do not have to. It's not a law. It's like most like it's the absence of a law, that you do not have to publicly list your donors. In every other country where there's a democracy, they do have to. The entire Western media, the entire American media have to list where they get their money from, or not the money from. They have to kind of list what their leaning is. For example, if I do just America here, I actually want to be correct about it. That's why I'm googling it. Okay, it's the same. It is the same. So this the structure is a bit different because they're publicly funded as well. But okay, we'll go through a list. We'll go through a list and actually compare it. This is the reach. This is the ownership. It's publicly traded company. Okay, so you can actually find out who all are owners there. For example, the Vanguard group. So okay, it's mostly readily available. The New York Post and you know After looking at these people, you can actually for certain determine if they're left leaning or right leaning. Right. So it's same with CNN. It's, CNN is also publicly traded. EW I've never heard of. ABC I've heard of. It's also publicly traded. Okay. These are all trade companies, by the way. So they're okay. So Disney Media Networks also has some kind of share in this. So you can pretty much say that they're very much left leaning. Okay. Let's see the list of news here. So the Network 18, Mukesh Ambani, is he left leaning? Is he right leaning? Is he, loyal to any one of these sides? You don't know. Dainik Bhaskar Group, no one watches that. No one knows what the fuck that is. So you see, the only okay, see the only recognizable group that you have here is Network 18, right? Express Group is also pretty famous in our country, but other than that, you see the actual list, people who are individuals who are listed as the owners here. Patrika Group. No one has heard of this. No one watches this. Where is Aaj Tak? Where is all this Z News and whatnot? The mainstream media. Also, yeah, give me dark mode. Yes, this is better. So, is there anyone here example for except for Network 18 that you can actually say that yeah, this is a prominent Indian network and this is who owns it, so we can kind of accept what kind of agenda is going to be propagated towards us. You cannot, right? So okay, Aaj Tak is here, India Today. So Arun Puni. Hmm. So you cannot actually determine if they're left leaning or right leaning. Here you can pretty much determine if they're left leaning or right leaning, which actually is very makes up for like if you actually know what's the bias of coverage. For example, there's a news article which has 70% left coverage. You can probably expect it to be a gay propaganda, thrown at you. But in this case, there's no left or right, there's no clear division, there's just lobbying. This is just pure lobbying. Whatever is in the best interest for the short term, by the way. There's no long term interest here of these people. The short term profit interests are the only thing they actually care about, which is fair because their financial years are also very short. And if they want to actually have a long term, you know, standing or any long term goal, they'll have to lobby both sides. Whichever one is in power, they'll throw money at them. And the people who are in charge of our government, they're not, first of all, they're not educated. Even if they're educated, they're pretty retarded. And even if they're educated or not retarded, they're bought. Now, even if they're not all three of them, the fourth option is they get killed. So what do you do? Do you call this a democracy? Oh, one more thing I wanted to actually talk about. Yes. How many times does the word, this is actually I saw in a podcast recently, reasonable restriction come up in the Indian Constitution? This is very off tangent, by the way. Oh, okay, it appears five times, all in Article 19, by the way. All the Article 19 is basically for fundamental freedoms, the individual freedoms we have, the fundamental freedom of humans in this country. That's what Article 19 contains, and it has six sub articles or whatever what I don't know what the clauses. Out of these six clauses, five times the word reasonable restriction comes. So there's restriction with freedom of speech. Like there's no absolute freedom of speech in our country. We all knew that. Restriction with freedom of assembly. Now, this is very interesting because if you actually want to go and protest a bill, they can impose 19.3. Like you'll be in violation of Article 19.3. if the government just wants it. If it feels like it, because the courts are under their control, obviously you cannot actually appeal against the government in the Supreme Court and expect to get anything good out of it. But so there's restriction of freedom of assembly. Now, freedom of assembly could be anything protest, and we're recently seeing the SSC protest. So they're actually the police and the treatment that they're giving you, that's actually pretty lawful. It's not unlawful, it's unjust. It's very much unjust, but it's not unlawful. The third one is freedom of form of association or unions. Again, association and union basically means, let's just say RSS or Bajrang Dal, for example. So if both of them are actually for the day RSS or Bajrang Dal stops being fruitful or stop providing any worth to the agenda that the government in power wants to propagate. And it's the same with Congress, which is mostly a Muslim conservative side. I'm just talking about the Hindu conservative side because that's what I'm well versed with. So the moment they're deemed to be useless, they'll be in violation of 19.4, because then you're not useful to the government for the for like propaganda or any agenda or anything they want to do to the lowest level of, you know our society, which is like the ground level of a society. So the day you become useless, then you're done. They can actually put up a violation of 19.4 on you. That's there. So 19.5 also, there's a restriction of movement and residence. The There's not a lot of restrictions you can actually provide, because considering residence comes with goes hand in hand with purchasing power, and our purchasing power is very low. So it's like most of the people in our country are actually, wherever they can afford, they live. They don't have as such many preferences. If they can afford it, they live there, and like they suffer with the consequences of where they live. But if they want to actually, any government, if they want to again spread their propaganda agenda or have control over you, they can just say that you cannot live near the wealthy class. They can do that. They can actually separate you with on the basis of wealth. They can separate you on the basis of religion as well. They can separate you on the basis of, like, let's say there's a civilian area. That's very fair. That's the government officials have another residential area than the civilians. That's fair. But there's a lot of loopholes in between. For example, the kind of location you get. Let's say you want a house in the hills and you want a retirement house there. There's not a lot you can do there. If the government wants to stop you, they can stop you. I'll have to read more about 19.5 and how you can be violating it. So 19.6 is freedom of freedom to practice any profession, like your occupation, trade, and business. So the day your business, for example, you open a business that actually is like Doge. You open up Doge in India, they can put you under the violation of 19.6. You're not constitutionally allowed to have a company, an outsider company that will overlook the efficiency of any government body, because you'll be in violation of Article 19.6, and that's just a reasonable restriction. That's just a restriction. What is a restriction? What is the definition of restriction? No one knows. Who knows? Only the courts and the government, and whatever they feel like it on that day. So that's one of the, like, I'm telling you, you're not a free person in this country, even if you can vote. And even if you do vote, you go out to vote. A retard's vote, and like the lowest of the lowest comes vote. A rapist who got bail, his vote is counted as same as as your vote, by the way. I was telling you that your vote is not heavier than his vote, but yours, like, level smarter than him. You can actually be you're a good human being. You're not a rapist, which is like almost every 15 minutes a woman gets raped in India, but the conviction rate still stays at 28%. But my point is that if you think just because that we're with the biggest democracy in the world that we'll have any ounce of freedom. You're wrong. You're fundamentally wrong. You're constitutionally wrong. You're wrong by law. That's what I'm saying. That has been my point. I don't know बहन चो कितने times बोल रहा हूँ मैं बड़बड़ आधे घंटे से this was my point. So this is just in the Article 19, your fundamental freedom. There are a lot of loopholes if you actually open up the entire constitution and whatnot. There's a lot of loopholes. So when people complain about, let's say comedians go into jail and whatnot, they're actually arresting comedians is lawful for whatever they say. Doesn't have to be any specific thing that they say. For whatever they say, if the government feels like this guy should be in jail, he will be in jail. So we're as close as North Korea, like we're closer to North Korea than we're closer to any of the biggest 10 economies of the world. Even though we're at third or fourth, whatever we're at. We're at fourth, yeah. Germany's up above, yes. So that was my entire point. Let's see what he said.
उन मुद्दों पर बात करेंगे जो लोगों को पता तो होने चाहिए, लेकिन सब छुपा के रखते हैं। या फिर हमारे देशभक्त करोड़ का टैक्स दिया था। कोल इंडिया 13-14 में कोल इंडिया सरकारी कंपनियों में सबसे
Yeah, Coal India Limited, yes.
बेहतरीन कंपनी मानी जाती थी। कोल इंडिया ने सरकारी कंपनी होते
But I can have a transcript here, right? Fucking hell. Fucking hell, हिंदी में shit. यार ये नहीं पढ़ सकता मैं.
हुए साल 2014-15 में भारत सरकार को 10,000 करोड़ का टैक्स दिया था।
Also, I just genuinely don't like this woman, Nirmala. I don't think she's smart enough to be a financial minister. I don't think she knows anything about finances.
कोल इंडिया को 2011 में महारत्न का दर्जा दिया भारत सरकार ने। देश में 215 पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस है, उनमें से ये पांचवी कंपनी थी जिसको ये महारत्न का दर्जा मिला। ये आज भी दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी कोल उत्पादक कंपनी का खिताब रखती है। We are nowhere comparable to China, Australia or US in
I think we should stop compare ourselves with any country except Pakistan. That's the only country we're better than. I think any other and Bangladesh. I think any other country, if you actually go China, the entire Europe, entire Northern America, Southern America, we're way worse. We're way worse. Even if we're economically better than them, like the GDP is above their GDP, but still purchasing power per capita and whatnot. Your index, there's a lot of indexes that live. There's a ease of opening a business index. I think we're one of the lowest ranks in the entire world. We might be lower than Zimbabwe. I'm not kidding. Ease of doing business in India rank. 63rd in 2020. It was 142 in 2014. I think 63 is because of social media. Now you can run a lot of businesses because of social media. That has nothing to do with our internal economical structure. A lot of people can actually open up cafes, uh, fucking lunch services, small products like earrings and whatnot through social media and actually have a certain amount of income through it because just because of the sheer number of people we have. But that has nothing, literally nothing to do with any government initiative that there has been. So dealing with construction permits is 27. Trading across border is 68 from 80. That's not a very good improvement. We're at 68. We're at 68th rank and we want to trade across borders. It's probably you'll need to lobby a lot to get your foot in the door. Resolving insolvency, it's okay. I actually do not believe that. I think that's fake data. I could be right. I could be wrong. Okay, so there's the bad. Protecting minority investors. Yes. This is what I wanted to. Getting credit. Yes. Enforcing contracts we're at 163. Okay, so if you actually work a lot with contracts. It's as good as a blank piece of paper. That's good to know. 163. What's the lowest rank we can actually get? Ease of business, lowest rank. What's the lowest rank you could get? Amongst 190 country, we're at 163. Got it. And enforcing contracts among 193, we're at 163. Let's say cost of living, 109. Oh, this is a good thing. Because the lower the better. I think this is how you should treat this data. It's 70% lower than the United States. Cost of living, if I can I compare it? Cost of living compared with per capita income in India. What's the disparity? Can it show me the disparity? So the purchasing power parity versus nominal. नहीं. I need numbers. Ah, international ranking versus 70 compared to the US differences in price and quality. Per capita income, so we're on 43rd. I know. That's we're never getting better. I think we'll be very lucky to cross the 100 mark when it comes to per capita income, but that will never happen. So this is also, yeah. I so why uh, will a any person power think it's a good idea for yeah, giving contracts to the private owned entities or any of their uh, like billionaire friends or whatever, any of their wealthy friends, and it's a very good idea and it will actually help. In what scenario does it actually help the person like us, like person on ground? So what we have is a trickle down economy. This is the top layer and it trickles down. Let's say this is Tata, trickles down. This is like whatever I'd say ABC. I'm not naming anyone. Fuck that. So it'll trickle down, trickle down, trickle down, trickle down, trickle down, trickle down. The more money these ABC have, the more money these trickle like for example, this is the managerial class and this is like the lowest class in any office, which could be the security guards, the janitors and whatnot. That's the lowest paid people in any company. Is it anyone lower than them? Parking guy, I guess. I don't know. So the basic idea is to if you make these people wealthy, healthy. If you make these people wealthy, these A, B, C's and whatnot, everyone in this trickle will get wealthy. That's the basic idea, which does work in most cases, but not in India. I'll tell you why. Uh, there are two things to consider. Like for example, this will work fabulously, and it does work fabulously in a country like America, because the major difference is labor laws. The major difference is labor laws. If you have an enforceable labor law to of this trickle, every level of this trickle, then it will work fabulously. There you'll be getting paid for overtime. There'll be a set bar of how much, how less they can pay you. What will be the minimum wage for you? For example, TCS, Infosys, and whatnot, all these companies, they until certain time, like their minimum pay used to be a lot higher than it is right now. They got to understand that they could, for the lowest employees to their, like, for example, freshers, fresher engineers, They understood that they can decrease, keep on decreasing, they keep on undercutting their salaries, and there will still be people who will work for those salaries, for those wages. They understood that market, that people are so desperate for jobs that they will work for 10,000 per month in a fucking place like Telangana, in a place like, you're a Delhiite by the way, you shift to southern South India and then whatnot on 10,000 per annum, sorry, per month salary, by the way. So they understood that people will still work because there's no minimum wage enforced. I don't think minimum wage exists. I don't know the labor laws. That's how oblivious, that's how non-existent the labor laws in India are. I don't even know if there's a cap for a minimum wage in our country. Like a McDonald's employee could be earning more than you and you have a fucking B-Tech in your hand. Just saying. That's very much possible. So it does not work because there's no enforceable labor laws and these companies can keep on undercutting their salaries and increase their profits. For their short-term goal, this is the most efficient ways. You undercut salaries, undercut salaries, you lay off people, you basically have less number of employees to tend to, and you get tax exemptions on your loans because you're a big company, you have a lot of people in your pocket. You get tax exemptions. This is basically how the short-term profits work. This will not work very well in the long term, but they have long term safe bets as well. For example, lobbying the government. That's the best long term planning you can ever do in your entire life. So, who's actually suffering here? The taxpayer. The taxpayer suffering. There is no, if there is no labor laws, the company can actually make you work for as long as they fucking want, or fire you if you don't. So your family suffers. If you actually want to earn money, more money, then your wife will also work. Your wife will be working. That's double the tax earning, just because there's a requirement. Like you cannot survive without your wife working. So that's gonna be your. That's how you 2x your tax per family. The second is, I'd say, the second benefit is people who are working in this entire, you know, ecosystem, they'll be so busy with their jobs that anything the government is doing, any bill they're passing, any notice they're passing, they'll be so busy that they will not read it. They will actually do not, they will not read it at all. They will not have any time to give to their family, much less any time to give to what's happening around the world. And there's someone once said, if you don't care about politics, you don't care about your future. That's it. It's that simple. And it's true. So if they're out of this ecosystem, they're out of the information ecosystem, that they get info from someone, they get info from like what's the government doing. So the government can do anything what they want. They can please their creamy class and make a separate, like, then here comes the separation line. Here is a separation line. Very good separation line. These are all the low level workers. These are all the managerial class, high level workers and people with good families. Now when this separation comes, we're divided. And once you're divided, you're easy to conquer. It's that easy. Ah, I'll have to edit all of this and then I actually don't know how this stream went and what was I talking about. I just went on.